Swan. He has no other name. His past is a mystery, but his work is already a legend.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. It's Thursday, March 19th, 2015. As you can tell from the image on your screen, this particular episode is going to be about Bill C-51 here in Canada. And if you're American or from some other nation, before you tune out thinking that this doesn't have anything to do with you, well, I assure you it does, because while the United States already has its Patriot Act and Canada is now pushing for C-51, other countries around the planet are also pushing for their own types of terrorism bills. And if it hasn't affected you yet, I guarantee you it will at some point. I'm afraid this is probably going to be a little disjointed and manic because I have quite a few things that I want to go over. But the good news is tomorrow night, Friday, March 20th, 2015, we are going to convene an emergency session of the Insane Media Oval Table, Bill C-51 edition, and I'm going to be bringing on some very intelligent and active Canadian friends who are going to discuss this bill. We are going to go over it in some detail, tell you what you need to know about it, and give you an idea of exactly why it needs to go away. So with that in mind, let's get to Bill C-51. This is a fantastic little article from the BC Civil Liberties Association that gives us some ideas of what we need to know about Bill C-51 in point form. And the first one I want to get to is this number 2. It gives the government too much discretion to pick and choose which individuals and groups to target for further scrutiny. Bill C-51 gives the government the ability to designate an extraordinarily broad range of activities as potential security threats. Now, the good news is they claim that they will use they will use good judgment when deciding which individuals and groups constitute true threats. I want you to keep that sentence in mind. We're going to come back to that in just a little bit. It criminalizes speech acts that have no connection to acts of violence. There are other things about the no-fly list. If you wind up on a no-fly list in Canada, or if you are deemed a terrorist threat, do not expect you are going to get any information about why you were placed on the list, why you're a threat. If you happen to go to court, the judge has no responsibility. He's not required to provide you with any of the minister's case against you for you to be able to build your defense around. CSIS, Canada's spy agency. In this bill, they want to give CSIS the power to act as a police force while still allowing it to operate secretly as an intelligence gathering service. Now think of that. Think in the United States, imagine the NSA being able to go around and arrest you. You realize how secret their operation is. Now imagine how difficult it would be getting any information out of them in regards to arrests or things of that nature. Now I direct you back to this section here where it says that they will use good judgment when deciding which individuals and groups constitute true threats. Well, the truth is CSIS is already involved in these sorts of activities, and it seems this bill wishes to do nothing more than codify these nonsenses they've been participating in into law. For example, CSIS protest risk forecast, highlighting citizen journalism, heightens fears of government oversight. So basically what this means is CSIS, Canada's spy and information service group, has been putting together protest risk forecasts for the government because they're concerned about the spread of social media, the spread of citizen journalism, and the involvement of young people. They're concerned that all these new people joining in, we'll call it activism, are going to make their jobs a little more difficult. For example, down here it says, the analysis of influencing factors must be considered. Social media use that has given civil society movements an expanded digital reach, allowing them to organize larger numbers in more locations. Citizen journalism that spreads alternative information into the mainstream through social media and other internet forums, heaven forbid. And engagement of youth by issue-related movements established in the last 5 years. So CSIS is already involved in examining these situations, looking into these protest and activist groups. Protest and activist groups. and they are providing outlooks to the government about these sorts of things. For example, CSIS apparently helped the government prepare for the Northern Gateway protests. So here we have a group of concerned Canadian citizens who don't want their natural wild and resources squandered. They don't want bitumen. They don't want their ground dug up like they've done in Alberta. They don't want to turn pristine land into a disgusting-looking mining operation. So CSIS has been preparing reports for the government, helping them prepare for these protests. These aren't terrorists. These are human beings who live in this community, who have a vested interest in keeping their wilderness portions of their communities healthy. But CSIS apparently thinks that they're very dangerous people, and they give a couple of reasons why they think they're dangerous. They say the issue was driven by violence during demonstrations against natural gas fracking in New Brunswick the previous summer. Well, okay, there was violence during some of those natural gas fracking protests, but the reason there was violence is because of the way the situation was handled by the RCMP. As we scroll down here a little bit, you'll notice, if I can find it for just a moment, I'm sorry about this. I knew this was going to be a bit of a cock-up. Oh, by the way, this is probably a not safe for work program too, and if the kids are around, you might want to tell them to get away, because I may let loose here in just a couple of minutes. Oh, here we go. Packages for both meetings included a CSIS synopsis of violence that flared near the Elsipogtog First Nation in New Brunswick back in October 2013, when the RCMP enforced a provincial court injunction against an encampment to protest fracking. All right, so they were given an injunction. The RCMP were given an injunction to go in and bust up these protesters. And at that time, apparently some Molotov cocktails were thrown at Mounties, shots were fired. But the truth is, what the hell? Get out of here. But the truth is, the RCMP went in there and raided their encampment. They had violence on their mind the entire time. And so all of a sudden, of course, we have a riot on our hands. Now, as far as whether the government, CSIS, the RCMP, or any of these people show good judgment, I'm going to play for you a video in just a moment that was from the Security and Prosperity and Partnership Exchange Summit that was held in Montebello, I believe, in 2007. And here is an example of the good judgment these people use.
This is our line. This is for old guys, grandmothers, grandfathers. Hey, our line. Come on. It's our line. Bugger off to your line. This is our line. Get out of here. Take your hands down. I know. Hey. I know, brother. Take your mask off. No. Put the rock down, man. Put the rock down. Hey. Put the rock down. This is our line. You fucking cops, get out of town. Cops out of town. Hey, leave these guys alone. That's our line. You're fucking cops. It's our line. It's our line. No. Hey, let's not go here. They're trying to fool us. Yeah, we know. They're trying to fool us. They want us to be aggressive with them. They want us to be. You guys never comes will let people in problems like this. They all just interrupt. C'est les attentats provocateurs. Exactement. No. It's our line. It's our line. I think that's our line. Put the rock down. Même la police, ça, vous allez pas la chicken shit. It's Hey, take your mask off. Take your mask off. You're a fucking cop, the three of you. Go on, it's our line. It's a peaceful demonstration. They can't decide. They put that mouth down. These three guys are cops, everybody. Put the rock down, cop. Police. Come on, let's see your face. Come on, police. Come on, let's see your face. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. Come on, cop. And then go another way. They won't beat them. They're trying to. They're going to try to. Vive la police! This is our line, and we want the cops out of there. Provocateurs.
So we're protecting the We're protecting the integrity of the line.
I still want God to put this line back. Let's call now, man. They got their cops back. Good job.
They were moving in because the black bloc was moving.
Yeah. Who was that guy over there? What person taking away? What was that? Did somebody get injured?
No, the three cops tried to, they had rocks and they were about to start a riot. Stuck everybody in and these kids spotted them. I stepped in front of them and stopped them. We sent some provocateurs in to try and crash the line. We stopped them, asked them to take their masks off. They're carrying big boulders. They were not anyone that's here.
They were
Provocateurs with boulders. They wanted to create a riot.
They weren't
They're policemen. We asked them to take their mask off. They're cops.
And they were provoking. It would be an excuse for the police to move in, and we don't want that. So we're not protecting the police. We're stopping.
We got some peaceful protesters down there. We got to protect.
They're back in there. They crossed back into the police line.
I don't know the term.
They're trying to create a riot so that they can suck us all in to get beat up.
They're people off.
How do you know? How do you know?
I stopped him, looked him in his eye, and said, "You're a cop, aren't you?" And his eyes just glazed right up. I tried to take his mask off. We took it off. We got pictures. They're provocateurs. We got a peaceful group of young brothers down there, and we're going to ensure that these guys don't beat them up. That's our job. This is our line, and we're going to protect them. We're not letting some goon with a club come in and start a riot.
And lest you think that gentleman, David Coles, was out of his mind that day and was just making things up or seeing things, here we go. In the Star, the Toronto Star, Quebec police admit agents posed as protesters. With the proof caught on video, Quebec provincial police were forced to admit Thursday that 3 undercover agents were playing the part of protesters at this week's international summit in Montebello, Quebec. So there you have it. We have police provocateurs admitted to by a provincial police agency who are going in and circulating amongst protesters for the sole purpose of being shit disturbers. That's why they're there. They're there to make protesters look bad, so that if we follow that along to its conclusion, the point being that they want to make protesters look bad, so they make protesting look bad, so it gives them more reason to spy on these fucking people. Will you get the hell out of here? So they can continue to spy on these people for basically no reason except that they don't agree with their particular political point of view. Now, should we trust their judgment? Well, let's look at this story. This comes to us, this is this month. This is going on right now in a BC federal court. Bomb plot couple needed addiction counseling, not terror prosecution. This couple was arrested for apparently trying to detonate a bomb during Canada Day celebrations, which is July 1st, back in 2013. Now, these people this trial has already been going on for almost 2 months, still on its first witness and its first batch of a library of surveillance footage. Now, let's take a quick look at these people and see who they are. Well, John Nuttall, 40 years old. His wife, Amanda Carodi, 31 years old. They've pleaded not guilty to 4 terrorism-related charges that involve a supposed plot that was inspired by Tsarnaev and his brother, and these people were going to bomb Canada Day celebrations in Victoria. But as it says here, it was nothing more than a sophisticated sting orchestrated over 5 months by the RCMP. No one was ever at risk. Listen to this. The Mounties took this couple. They're a couple of drug addicts. The Mounties took them. Fuck me. The Mounties took the impoverished pair on weekends to Whistler and the Okanagan to relax. They staged a meth lab emergency in their neighborhood, complete with hazmat response team as a cover, to plant bugs in their apartment. They gave the couple food when they were hungry, drove them shopping for bomb parts, and to pick up methadone. This is the RCMP doing this. They rented a Delta motel room for them to assemble their timers and meet other undercover officers who were pretending to be extremists. And then finally, they gave them transportation to Vancouver Island and the legislature, where they filmed the two hiding 3 inert IEDs. Inert meaning they weren't dangerous, they weren't capable of blowing up or hurting anybody, and of course IEDs, improvised explosive devices. So what do we have here? We have the exact same fucking shit that the FBI is doing in the United States. They're contriving these terrorists. They're finding people who are down on their luck. In this case, I mean, fuck, a couple of drug addicts who could barely string a couple of sentences together. They found Islam in a lower mainland camouflage store while on a walkabout in an alcoholic daze. Like, their first instinct after embracing Allah was to sober up, go to a local mosque, and ask for an AK-47 in order to commit jihad. Like, this is who we're supposed to be scared of. This is completely contrived. These are the people that want even more access to laws. They want more of a privilege to step on you, step on your rights. It's absolutely fucking incredible, and I apologize that I'm cursing, and I apologize that this seems to be a little disjointed. But we're going to get into this in some serious detail. We're going to go over Bill C-51 tomorrow night, Friday, March 20th. North of the 49th is going to be there. Truth Paradigm has agreed to be there. The Ottawa Expositor is going to be there. We're going to try and get Aaron from Police State Radio as well to be there. All concerned Canadians. And if you're not a Canadian, here's a reason why you should still be concerned. Look at this. The Prime Minister of France dismisses French Patriot Act fears as spies get more power. This just came out today. French spy agencies will have more power to bug and track would-be Islamist attackers, and authorities will be able to force internet providers to monitor suspicious behavior under a draft law unveiled today. Just over, and of course this comes hot on the heels of the Charlie Hebdo attack, and of course Canada's new laws come on the heels of the supposed attack on Parliament that Jeff C. did a good job of cleaning up for us. But check this out. Surveillance staff, well, let's back up a little bit. The bill, which has just been unveiled, will allow spy agencies to tap phones and emails without seeking permission from a judge. Surveillance staff will also be able to bug suspects' flats with microphones and cameras and add keyloggers to their computers to track every keystroke. This is happening in France. So we've got the United States, France, Canada, Great Britain is already, balls deep in this kind of fucking nonsense with all their spyware and their cameras all over the bloody place. And who was just telling me today something else about the, if you try to go to certain sites in the UK, you just won't go there. You'll just get redirected to another site if the government happens to think that Heidi, will you hit the bricks with that silly ball? If they happen to think that that's a site that's too naughty for you to go to. So this shit is happening everywhere, and you should be concerned. If you're a Canadian, you should be concerned and get ready for the next reading of this bill. Fortunately, the protests that happened last weekend across Canada, day of action in regards to Bill C-51, has had an effect, but you can bet the Tories will not stop. The Conservatives will not stop on this one. They will continue to push it. Bill C-51 C-51 has been around, I think, since 1994, for fuck's sakes. It's had like 10 different names. They keep trying to push this stupid thing through, and finally they've got brazen enough to just call it what it is, and they hope that they can convince Canadians to be scared enough to accept it. Well, don't you dare. And make sure you tune in Friday, March 20th, 2015, tomorrow night, and we will go over Bill C-51, and we'll do our best to make it as clear as possible for you. So thanks for tuning in. I hope this made some sense to you, and I hope it's giving you a reason to get a little further informed. Thanks.